Here is what INTPs say versus what they actually mean. Number 1. I'm not sure about that. When an INTP says, I'm not sure about that, what you're really hearing is a subtle warning siren cloaked in politeness. It's not just doubt, it's the opening salvo of a mental investigation that's about to unfold. Inside their head, the gears are already turning at lightning speed, running a complex diagnostic on your statement. They're scanning for inconsistencies, hidden assumptions, logical loopholes, and obscure exceptions that might unravel your entire argument. It's like watching a chess player who's just spotted a potential checkmate 3 moves ahead. Their mind zooms ahead, anticipating counter-arguments and alternative scenarios. But instead of saying, you're wrong, they hedge with, I'm not sure, because it's their way of buying time and maintaining intellectual diplomacy. The phrase is a door left slightly ajar, an invitation to engage in a deeper, often rigorous discussion, where the INTP will peel back layers of thought with surgical precision. They're not dismissing your idea outright, they're issuing a challenge to think harder, question more, and get to the heart of the truth. So, if you hear, I'm not sure about that, from an INTP, buckle up. You're about to enter their labyrinth of logic, a place where nothing is taken at face value, and every idea is tested, twisted, and ultimately refined. They don't say it lightly. For them, I'm not sure is just the beginning of a fascinating intellectual journey, and you're invited. Number 2. That's interesting. When an INTP says, that's interesting, it might sound like polite filler, but it's actually a flashing neon sign in their mind. Interesting is their way of saying, you've just tossed a mental grenade into my thought process. Instantly, their brain kicks into overdrive, linking your idea to a dozen other concepts, theories, or quirky facts they've stored away like mental treasure. This single word signals the start of a deep dive, a cascade of tangents and internal dialogues that can send them spiraling off into realms you didn't even know existed. To the outside world, it may seem like a casual acknowledgement, but inside, it's a spark that ignites a whole wildfire of curiosity and questioning. So, when an INTP says, that's interesting, buckle up, you've just opened the door to a mental adventure that's anything but superficial. Number 3. Let me get back to you. When an INTP says, let me get back to you, it's not just a casual brush off or an excuse to avoid the conversation. Behind those words lies a complex, deliberate process of mental excavation. INTPs are thinkers who don't do half measures. The moment you ask them a question or present an idea, their brain immediately begins gathering data, comparing it to what they already know, and running mental simulations. But instead of rushing to a quick conclusion, they prefer to step back and let the idea simmer. This phrase is their way of signifying, I'm engaging with this on a deep level. I want to give you a well-constructed, logically sound answer, not just spit out something surface level. It's also a protective mechanism. INTPs are wary of committing too early, especially if they feel their understanding is incomplete. So they often take their time, often disappearing into a private world of analysis, looping through pros and cons, and wrestling with potential contradictions. For those around them, this can feel frustrating, like waiting for a delayed reply or being put on mental hold. But for an INTP, this incubation period is essential. It's how they turn raw data into insight, confusion into clarity. In reality, let me get back to you is a promise that when they do respond, their answer will be thoughtful, thorough, and uniquely tailored to the problem. A mental gem polished by time and intellect. So next time you hear it, don't push for instant answers. Give them the space to think, because what's coming back will be worth the wait. Number 4. I don't really care. When an INTP says, I don't really care, don't take it at face value. To most people, it sounds like apathy or disinterest, but for an INTP, it's a carefully measured emotional economy. They're not indifferent, they're prioritizing. Their minds are overflowing with ideas, theories, puzzles, and possibilities, and they simply can't devote energy to everything equally. Saying, I don't really care is their way of drawing a line in the mental sand, a way to say this isn't worth my focus right now. It's not that they don't notice or understand, it's that their internal value system says it's not a priority. This phrase is more about conserving their mental resources for things that truly matter to them, like unraveling a paradox or solving a complex problem, than a dismissal of people or situations. So, when you hear, "I don't really care," know that the INTP's brain is simply filing that topic under not urgent. They're still observing, still thinking, just not about that. It's not personal, it's strategic. Number 5. That's not how I see it. When an INTP drops the phrase, "That's not how I see it," what you're really hearing is a subtle intellectual earthquake. It's a signal that the foundation of the conversation just shifted under their feet, and they're about to rebuild it from scratch. INTPs don't just disagree casually, they reconfigure reality. For them, every idea is like a puzzle piece that must fit perfectly into a larger logical mosaic. When your perspective clashes with theirs, it's not a simple no, it's a challenge to re-examine the whole picture. This phrase is often the start of a long, winding expedition through alternative theories, hidden assumptions, and possible exceptions you never considered. Their brain is running dozens of simulations, weighing every possibility and edge case. It's like watching a master architect redesign a building mid-construction, except the building is the entire concept you just proposed. But here's the key. INTPs don't reject your view because they want to be difficult. They do it because they crave precision, clarity, and a deeper understanding. Their disagreement is an invitation to dig deeper, to question more, and to arrive at a more refined truth together. It can feel overwhelming or even frustrating, especially if you're expecting a straightforward answer. But with an INTP, "That's not how I see it," is more than just a phrase. It's a gateway to richer, more nuanced conversations. So next time you hear it, don't shut down or get defensive. Lean in. Because they're offering you a glimpse into the intricate workings of their mind and a chance to see the world in a whole new way. Number 6. Why are you asking me? When an INTP says, "Why are you asking me?" it might sound defensive or dismissive, but it's really a subtle dance of curiosity and skepticism. INTPs are natural analysts and questioners. When you throw a question their way, especially one that feels unexpected or complex, their first instinct is to evaluate why you want that information. Is it a trick? Is there a deeper motive? Or maybe they just want to understand the context before diving in. This phrase is their mental checkpoint, a way to pause and assess before committing their precious cognitive resources. They want to know if the question is worth unpacking, or if it's a rabbit hole better left unexplored. So, beneath the surface, "Why are you asking me?" is actually an invitation to clarify, justify, or reframe your question. It's less about suspicion and more about preparing their mind to engage in a meaningful way. Next time you hear this, don't take it personally. Instead, see it as a sign that your question has sparked their intellectual radar and that they're gearing up for a thoughtful response. These videos will be really helpful for you.